Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair News, the weekly show that talks about toys. I'm your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I'm joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has majority custody over, one of the hosts of the Figuratively Speaking podcast, Nate. How are you this week, Nate?
I'm doing great, other than the fact I just looked down and this random King Kong head, which we know isn't random because we attended the live stream last night, or,
Mm.
well, a night and a half ago. But I thought it was poop.
I'm
Like,
sure. I'm sure that's a tweet
it
Randy
was,
wants to see.
it was face down, and I was just like, oh my God. Because I thought it was the cat or the dog. I totally scared.
Oh
And
man.
so I was doing great up until that moment.
Till you're
But now I'm doing better because it was just a random Kong head.
Kong head poop. I mean,
So
it's really close, right?
hijinks like these are on full display Wednesdays at 10
Yes, I like
Eastern
the
time.
shameless plug. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
You always cease to amaze me of how much more you are about promoting the show than Jamar is.
Yeah. Well,
Jamar will
it's the
simply
only
just try.
gig I got right now.
True.
Part time. This is it.
Yeah, Jamar will try to
The
like
internet or the
softball
internet's
some.
gonna hear me. This is the only way.
He'll try to softball some like transitions from one subject to the other, and those fly over my head, and then we'll just be in a shit show from there. But
That's all right.
hey, I appreciate the help either way. If you
Absolutely.
are new to the show, the way it works is I'm going to break down, well, this week, the top 4 weekly toy news that I have deemed worthy of the next 30, 40, however long minutes of your life. And then we send you on your merry way and hope that you come back next week and join us Wednesdays live on Twitch at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. But we are going to get started the same way we do every week, and that's with Mcfarlane news.
The
And
best McFarlane news
it really is. This has been
for me. I can actually buy some.
McFarlane had a pretty hefty week. First, we got official solicitations for the 7-inch Witcher Wild Hunt Ciri and Geralt in his wolf armor. There are no dates as of yet, no pre-orders as well. However, for DC Multiverse news, we finally got the first official images of the previously leaked Suicide Squad wave, which includes Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Peacekeeper, and Polka Dot Man, each coming with parts to build King Shark. And while there are no pre-orders, we are still waiting to see the leaked gold label Walmart exclusive Unmasked Bloodsport, Unmasked Peacekeeper, and the Mega King Shark variant. Speaking of leaks and variants, though, we've got more for DC, and that is with the Zack Snyder's Justice League Batman with the goggles on his forehead instead of over his eyes, showing up in hand as a Platinum Edition Chase variant. The picture is courtesy of Voice of Reason on Facebook. And then we also got from Target their inventory listing for a Batman Beyond 5-pack for $79.99 with no expected ship date. So, a lot to unpack. I'm just going to jump right to where I know you want to go, and that is with the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
I'm actually impressed with this set of figures. Like I was
Yep.
on the fence, and I think they may have pushed me over because they look pretty solid.
No, these all look great, and I'll probably end up getting the whole thing. Of course, I would get the Harley Quinn, but the Peacekeeper looks incredible. The Polka Dot Man, and like I said it last night, I love the actor that plays that guy. So and then the ability to just build King Shark is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to get these. The movie looks really good. I'm hoping ultimately that it didn't pull a fast one on us like the
Like the
first one did. Yep. But I have to have faith in James Gunn that this is actually going to deliver. And like I said, I think we were talking about John Cena, and he's become quickly one of my favorite actors. Strangely, for his comedic
Right?
timing, the dude is funny.
I
would have
mean,
never.
people make fun of wrestling, but hey, it produces stars like him and The Rock, so
Yeah, yeah. Let's see a couple more bankable action stars than those guys right now. So
yeah, it's definitely great. I am curious to see how the actual like head scans of the unmasked versions that were like listed
hmm
overseas turn out, just because Cena's already got figures out with wrestling, so you could easily just, well, not easily because they're hard to take off with the Mattel figures, but you can pop off that one of those heads and put it on and you're fine. I feel like the Edris Elba head's gonna be a little harder to
Yes.
to fiddle with. So if they fuck that one up, it's gonna be unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely one you don't want to see, because I don't think that the Dark Tower figure that Diamond Select did was quite on for him either.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. Maybe McFarlane can shock us. Maybe they can surprise us. The likenesses on these images here, though, for the Suicide Squad figures, do look really good, at least as far as these images, these marketing images go. I was really impressed with the Harley Quinn, and I could tell Polka Dot Man. I could tell exactly who that was.
Yeah, they definitely give me a little more hope that they won't fuck up the other two.
Yep.
I'm really curious because the rumor for the King Shark, like the variant, like mega edition version that's going to release as a gold label figure, is that it's going to be a bloody variant. And I'm kind of curious to see how that looks, like covered in like the red paint for like the blood.
Yeah.
Like I want to know, is like it just going to be around the mouth? Is it going to be like, oh, so like they, I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the trailer, but maybe they blew up Starro and it just fucking blood over everybody or something. I don't know, but
that would also be pretty cool.
I'm with it either way. I know Jake would kill me if we don't talk about these, but the McFarlane Witcher figures, I'm not gonna lie, like I've seen the other ones in person, and at least Geralt, like his costume just looks very flat. It almost looks like it was being made in the Mattel like DC Multiverse line that they did before they lost the license.
Right. Well, I picked up the one that's out now, and I went, hey, that's not Superman, and I put it back.
Joke's on you, he's not Superman now either, apparently.
Well, who knows? But I just know that it wasn't the guy from the TV show, and I was like, oh yeah, that game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that game. Yeah, the costume, at least like from the waist down, just looks very flat, like there's no details. Hopefully it looks better in person. I will say the fire effect looks really badass. And then Jake had also brought up that Siri, apparently they fucked her up, but I'm looking, I mean, the costume, again, waist down looks pretty flat and boring, not a lot of detail, but like her face doesn't look bad. Granted, I don't know what she looks like in the game, so maybe there is a whole thing where it's like, oh no, she just looks terrible. But to me, I think that's a pretty good head scan. And again, really cool like blue flame effect for her, so they're not bad in my opinion.
Yeah, the effect stuff is neat.
And then we also had the Batman, which I find this more interesting because we've been like, this was obviously shown in those like super grainy pictures a few months back before all of them went up for pre-order. I still don't think we know where armored Darkseid's going to end up, but the fact that Batman with the goggles up instead of down is now just a platinum version, which hasn't even been confirmed how to get these platinum versions, if they truly are chase variants, or if it's like specific. Like so far all the ones that have popped up in the past have come through Amazon accidentally, so it's like, is that a thing? Is it Amazon exclusive, or is it literally just a chase and it's like a 1 in however many chance, and gonna be a nightmare for anyone who prefers to see Batman's eyes versus having his goggles on or something like that?
Nope, good luck, because that just the platinum edition chase doesn't sound like something I want to do at all. So that just sounds very limited, and I'm glad it's only just the goggle variation, because anything more than that would be too much. And even that, I think variants like that tend to rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, it's rubbing me the wrong way because out of the two, I would have preferred this version.
Right.
Because I'm like, I hated that they gave him the goggles in the movie. I'm like, I get why Snyder did it. Because he's very much like, oh, it makes sense. He'd wear goggles so, nothing gets in his eyes while he's trying to blow up the aliens. But I don't know. I like,
as you do.
Yeah, as you do. I just like the version without the goggles on his eyes better. I do want to talk about this Target 5-pack, though, because this intrigues me. Because this makes me, like, genuinely wonder, are these going to be new figures, or is this going to be just a bundle where you can buy the Build-A-Figure wave and the Unmasked Shriek? Because I think that one's also supposed to be at Target at some point.
Well, the Unmasked Shriek was shown in a previews catalog.
Yeah, so that's going to be everywhere then.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if maybe this is, the Target exclusive Build-A-Figure set and that Shriek for this price, which at that point you're getting one figure for free, so it's not a bad deal if that's the case. Otherwise, I have no clue what this 5-pack could be, especially at that price. Like,
So I definitely think it's what you think it is as well. I think it's all of those exclusives with the Build-A-Figure pieces because those came out like so spaced out from each other.
mm-hmm.
I think the thought process is, they came out in these special monthly or bi-monthly editions, and at the end of it they'll release the whole thing for everyone to get who maybe missed out, hoping, I think, that somebody who bought the first one but missed out on the other ones will still have to get the box set, so they still double up.
Yeah.
But I think it is a sort of a second chance option to get that wave, especially with it being also a Target exclusive.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I part of me hoped it was something new and exciting, but then part of me didn't, because I didn't want to have to spend $80, because there's a rare chance that I'm gonna want all 5 figures.
Right.
So,
especially with it being, the one thing I could see it being is a box set of the figures with some slight paint variations.
Yeah, like all of them are in Target red.
Right. Yo.
Talk about, see this. Apparently, they need the King Shark bloody variant, so it makes more sense.
Yes.
I could also see them maybe doing, because let's just assume for a minute that they aren't being shitty and being like, oh, the Build-A-Figure is actually the 5th figure. Maybe you get a variant of Batman Beyond with a Terry McGinnis head, which realistically,
that is possible. That is absolutely possible.
Which realistically, it could be reused, because let's be honest, the unmasked Red Hood head does not look like Jason Todd.
No,
it looks
like
way
Terry
more
McGinnis.
like Terry McGinnis than that. Yep. So that would be like the perfect opportunity for reuse. They get shit for it, but ultimately, I feel like that's
shit for it anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna get shit either way, and at least this way you save some money. Yep. So I am genuinely curious to see if we're right and it's just gonna be a bundle of those, or if it's gonna be something like even slightly changed.
Right.
I don't think we're going to see too much of a change. I think you're right. It's just going to be for the people who missed out, or people who get FOMO after the fact and are like, oh shit, I didn't get the first like 2 or 3, and then they are like, oh well, this is going to be a thing, so if you miss those, you can get them. Because realistically, with these being spread out, that means they're probably going to get at least 4 to 6 of them per case.
Yeah.
So they should be pretty readily available. It'll just come down to if you decide to pick it up when it was available or not. Like, I can't see it as a situation where it's like, oh shit, they sold out because they got 6 in and there's only 4, or 1 of each of 2 of them, and then 2 of each of the other 2 kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. This next story, it's nothing too crazy, but I picked it just because you're on the show, and that is that in the Motu news, the Canadian GameStop EB Games put up listings for the new Masters of the Universe Origins Vintage He-Man and Vintage Skeletor. These will have heads to resemble the original 80s style released by Mattel, and are listed to ship in August. No info for the US release as of right now. So aside from obviously, you being the resident He-Man fan here among us, I'm genuinely curious, because I thought the Origins line was just the original figures with better articulation. So weren't these like 80s like ugly heads already a thing?
Yeah, sorta. So the figures are close approximations of the originals, but both He-Man and Skeletor both had wildly different like face sculpts and looks to them. Skeletor had more of a surprised open mouth thing. I don't know what the hell was going on with He-Man's head. His hair is a little more, I don't know, movable, or not movable, but like moving. It's more dynamic,
flowing,
I guess. Yeah. Okay. So when they came out with the battle armor He-Man and Skeletor, they did come with an alternate head that more closely mimicked that original head sculpt. So I will probably get these. I love the Origins line and the fact that they look, more like those. I wonder if this is kind of a way to help stores out who maybe have a few too many He-Man and Skeletors. Are like, hey, we'll take those, we'll reuse those already made bodies and pop on these new heads and put it back out there. So
yeah, because it's all that my Target and Walmart has is just He-Man Skeletor, He-Man Skeletor. And I'm like, man, someone banked hard that there were that many Motu fans that didn't already have a He-Man and Skeletor.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, once most people get He-Man and Skeletor, I could see maybe getting another set to either keep on card or something like that, or keep away to, give to their kids to sell for, $8 at a flea market one day. Other than that, I don't really see a lot of necessarily needs for more He-Man and Skeletors unless you change it up. So they're not dumb about this. They've gotten us to buy it. Now it'll be a third time for He-Man and Skeletor alone.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you can milk the fanboys any way you can, do it. I mean, I as much as I hate it, other companies do it to me all the time too. Hell, Mezco will make 3 to 5 different versions of the same Batman figure, and they'll usually get me for at least like 2/3 of them. So I feel it.
As long as you kind of maybe go every other, you're okay.
Yeah. Well, usually the thing with Mezco is it's like, oh, one of them was like an exclusive and sold out in minutes, so it was like a 50-50 shot if you got it kind of thing. And then occasionally they do like the all blacked out stealth, and then they do the all blacked out stealth but with gold accents, and it's like, well, I don't need fucking 2 blacked out Batmans. Like, I'll take the stealth one out, need the gold emblem and the gold belt, like, so that they get me, so I feel it.
Of course.
Moving on, though, Toy Arc gave us a closer look at the NECA The Boyz Homelander and Starlight, with closer looks at the alternative heads, and even a look at the box art, which we hadn't seen yet. We have box art for both Homelander and for Starlight. These are set to release later this month, closer to Father's Day. I believe, if I remember correctly, they're going to be Target first and then everywhere after that shortly. Later on, I'm not going to lie, I'm still Team Mafex, just because, one, they're giving me Carl Urban in Homelander first versus, making me wait. And Carl Urban comes with the baby with the laser eyes.
Fair enough.
But I'm not gonna lie, this Homelander, he's kind of giving me the eyes. I kind of almost feel like he might need a temporary home until Mafex eventually does give me my other.
Well, and there's it right there, because these NECA figures are going to be available later this month. Those Mafex figures are going to be available in 3 years, and you pre-ordered them 2 years ago.
Yeah, you're not.
So, yeah. So I would definitely, you can buy your placeholders, but by the time that you replace them, they'll have made a permanent home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because still looking at Homelander, like, man, he just looks so bloated, and I just can't get over it. And like, he's got like the rubber diaper, and it really looks like a rubber diaper on him.
I can't lie, it does. It does.
It's just some very interesting style choices by NECA and their design team, and it's not that bad figure for $30. If it was all we were getting, I'd buy it all day. There'd be no hesitation. Hell, I'm gonna buy it as a placeholder until I get the better version. But it's just something about it. It rubs me the wrong way. He just looks weird. He looks like he's in before. Movie stars would go and spend 3 to 5 months getting jacked. They just have those big, muscly rubber suits, and that's what it looks like. Don't get me wrong, the actor who plays Homelander 100% wears one of them, because I've seen him in interviews, and holy shit, it's like Captain America: The First Avenger when Steve is there before he takes the serum.
Oh, so it's the opposite.
Yeah,
like he deflated.
Yeah, he deflated, and I'm just like, what? That's crazy to me. That like. He's essentially my size.
So then it's perfectly a perfect representation.
Yeah, it's very accurate. It just looks off-putting to me for some reason. I'm also trying to figure out if his laser eyes plug in, or if they're actually attached to the head. Because if you look at the picture, they look like they're a separate piece.
Yeah, they do.
And if that's the case, that's gonna creep me out because that means he's gonna have these fucking holes in his eyes.
Yeah, unless it's some way to like fit it into like the existing socket, but I feel like that might fall.
Oh yeah, those would fall so easily. I mean, hell, even what was it? The Storm Collectibles Dark Side, his like actually had like little like cutout pieces to try to hold him in better, and those still like weren't like super secure all the time. Yeah, it looks very strange. I will say, I as much as I'm not a huge Starlight fan, like nothing against her, she was great in the show. It's just one of those things where I'm probably going to own 2 Boyz figures, and it's going to be Homelander and it's going to be Billy the Butcher. I don't need the whole kit and caboodle.
Don't need the whole team.
But they did a really good job. Like, she looks really good. I love the fact that they actually do have a separate head with the glowy eyes.
Yes.
'Cause I remember when we first saw pictures of her, it was like, is that photoshopped or is that legit what we're getting? And it's legit what we're getting. So I'm not mad. You said you still haven't watched The Boyz, right?
I was hoping we were not going to talk about that.
Okay, I'm just because I felt like I was talking too much, but then you also seemed like you were like staying away from it. So I'm like, I don't think he's seen it, but I feel like we've talked about that before.
Yeah, I was hoping we were going to coast by that. Nope, still haven't watched it.
Yeah, shame on you. In the comments below, shame Nate for not watching The Boyz. Peer pressure gets him to do a lot of things. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's true.
So make sure to do that.
Michael's seen me do some things.
Oh, I've seen him do some real fucked up things. Things that you can't have on Twitch. Moving on, though, to the closing out story for the news, and that is with our fan favorite here, Tamashii Nations.
Yeah,
they opened up the floodgates first with Marvel. We got official solicitations of the SH Figuarts first Avengers movie, Black Widow. She will be $70 shipping in October. And then we also got the solicitations for the first Avengers movie, Hawkeye. He is also going to be around $70 shipping in October as well. And then after that, we also, there are no pre-orders yet, surprisingly, but they will be Premium Bandai exclusive when they do go up. So stay tuned for that. We also got solicitations, though, for the SH Figuarts Shang-Chi, which is kind of surprising so quickly before the movie actually even comes out. He will be around $65, and he is shipping in September. He will be a general release, no exclusives there. Then we did get some previews of figures to expect here in the near future, and that is with the SH Figuarts WandaVision Vision and White Vision. No release information. They literally just had like a live video with them on display. And then after that, moving over to the DC side of things, we did get official solicitations for the new Suicide Squad movie, Harley Quinn. Quinn will be roughly $65, shipping in October. Again, no pre-orders just yet. And then last but certainly not least, from the Netflix anime series Godzilla Singular Point, we are getting the SH Monsterarts Godzilla Ultima. Zilla is going to be roughly $100 shipping in November. And once again, no pre-orders yet. However, how Tamashii Nations usually does it is we record on Thursday night, and then Friday morning as the show goes up, they're like, here's all the pre-orders. I'm like,
right.
Thanks for making us look like jackasses. More so than we already do ourselves.
Right.
I'm just going to assume we're going to start where I know your heart lies, and that's with Harley. And I think this figure looks fucking incredible.
It does.
And it just makes me so happy that in movie form, we are finally getting the classic colors on Harley Quinn instead of the weird, like, rave drug addict version that we've had so far.
Yep. No, I think this looks great. I love that Mcfarlane's doing the red wedding dress. I love that SH Figuarts is already doing this. So many times before when they've done figures from the movies, they'll do all of the companies will do the same look. Mm-hmm. So we'll get the same from SH Figuarts. We'll get the same from Mafex. And now, back then it was Mattel. It was all the same looks. And now we're already getting 2 different ones from 2 different lines. Yeah. That's awesome. So, and this does look great. Love the kind of battle tactical suit thing going on. Face sculpt looks really good. SH Figuarts is usually the one that kind of nails it a little bit closer compared to the import companies. So they really did come through on this one. Not really as far as what we've been shown yet with the accessories, but I'm pretty assuming that she's going to come kind of packed out with a lot of different weaponry.
I would assume, but yeah, probably because SH Figuarts seems to be better than Mafex. Mafex, I feel like we keep getting less and less.
Yep.
Where Figuarts usually is at least pretty solid across the board. So I have to assume we'll probably get like some sort of handgun set, maybe a mallet, maybe like some.
I think we'll get. Yeah, I think we'll definitely get a mallet because that's an easy reuse. I think we'll get a couple of guns, but I think we'll get the bazooka as kind of like the one new piece, or rocket launcher, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's like the one real new piece we'll get out of that.
That'd be pretty cool, especially if they give you like, because Mezco actually has like a rocket like shooting out effect with like the that came with the other two Harleys they did, and that'd be kind of cool to see them do that and to see if they go a different route. Like the Mezco one is very much like painted, look like smoke, so I'm curious if maybe they go with like more of like translucent and then give it little hints or something like that, just something to kind of change it up. But we'll have to wait and see. I am genuinely shocked that we're about to have a Shang-Chi Figuarts, or any Figuarts figure for that matter, that's based on a movie, come out in the same year as the movie. Like that doesn't happen.
I have to assume that this is because the movie got delayed from last year.
That's got to be it. Like there's no
it would have
way.
Been coming out, it would have been coming out like at this point in October, and we would have already gotten it last year. Like the movie would have already come out last year. So that would be the only. I'm giving them only that little bit of credit. Is it just dumb luck?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Because I was sitting there going through like their announcements. I'm like, at first I went through the rage of it, of like, are you fucking kidding me? We're getting a Shang-Chi figure before we get a fucking Captain America figure from Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I'm pretty salty about that, because I've been waiting for a good Captain America figure to be announced, because I missed out on the Marvel Select one, and the Marvel Legends one I'm not buying an entire wave to build his fucking wings.
Dude, but it's such a good wave, though.
It is, but I don't really collect Legends, so I don't need.
I know, that's true. I mean, but they did announce a Captain America. No, they didn't.
No,
it was
they've got
the Falcon.
It's the Falcon. It's his updated suit, where it's got a little more of a lighter gray in the red, but it's not the Captain America suit.
It's coming.
Yeah, but why even bother announcing that version? Like, especially like with these, that means they're not going to announce Captain America until that version comes out, so that way they don't hurt the sales.
Right, but at the same time, for purists, that is the suit he wore for 5 of the 6 episodes. So if you're looking for show representation, you're going to want that original Falcon, and then you are going to want the actual Captain America. Yeah. It's the same with the John Walker Captain America. That's a Walmart exclusive, but yet that's what he wore through most of the show.
Yeah,
and then you get the other one is
even though that one's wrong.
No, but I'm getting a corrected version.
Oh,
a friend of mine is fixing it for me.
Okay,
and I've already seen pictures, and it looks pretty good. So I will hopefully I'll get it, and I'll be able to show it next Wednesday.
Sweet, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And the reason Shang-Chi surprised me so much is because it's been almost a decade since the Avengers movie came out, and we're just now finishing up the like epic scene of them standing in a circle as like New York's crumbling around them with the Black Widow and Hawkeye, and I'm just like, it's taken you this long to make these figures. That is absurd to me. I mean, granted, we just got, I'm pretty sure it was Thor and Hulk reissues for that. Mm-hmm. And I think they're doing reissues for Iron Man.
I think they've secretly been kind of hinting that this was coming in that way.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hawkeye, I understand. He's not, especially at that movie, he was such a side character in that movie. Right. Black Widow was she was kind of a big deal. Like, I mean, she wasn't as big a deal as she is now in the movies.
Right. So how many other, like, I would be curious to see how many other Black Widows they've done. Since I'm not really into the figure arts as far as on the Marvel side, I know that they had to have done one from probably Age of Ultron or even Winter Soldier or something like that. So maybe they kind of thought, need to do the Avengers version right away, which is also why it's a premium Bandai exclusive as well. So I don't know that they have a ton of faith to put it out at this point, because there are so many others.
Yeah.
And is someone going to, who has all the other ones, are they still going to buy it for the first movie? Probably. If they're like us, they have to complete everything that they set out to. So who knows?
I think the only thing that really changes with her, if you aren't including the one that's probably coming out for the new movie, because I can't remember this. I think Mofex or them, one of them had it announced. I think the only thing that really changes in her costume over that time is her hair.
Her hair, and there's like some
I know over time, as you get like further in the movie, she does get like some different like accents in her costume, but it's very, very limited. So like
it is very minimal.
It's very passable that if you don't if you're not completist and you want the representation of each of them on there, you can kind of pick and choose. And that's the only one that really changes drastically throughout the movies is probably either, I'd say maybe Iron Man, but Captain America, because his costume completely 180s from where it was. And he also, Chris Evans gets 10 times more jacked between the first Avengers movie and the last.
That Avengers movie, that first Avengers movie costume is
it's rough. It's very...
It is. It's the worst one by far.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that it's like the bright colors.
Me too.
But it looks almost too bright and cartoony. I'm all for like representing where that came from, making it comic accurate, but you don't have to make it to the point where he stands out in a crowd. Like,
plus the ear covering and that was awful. They should have let the ears stick out.
I mean, I don't wrong. I love. If I had to choose Captain America, it's classic Captain America. I love the full mask, the winged ear things. Like,
oh yeah,
count me in on that. I'll take that over Modern Cap any day. But it just did not It
just a giant A.
Yeah, it just does not come through very well in that platform.
Nope.
Speaking of the MCU stuff, though, like, I mean, Vision. The fact that I don't know if they've done a Vision before, so I don't know how much.
I don't know either.
Of this is reuse. I would have to assume if they hadn't done first movie Black Widow, then I can't imagine they really would have done Vision yet. But I don't collect the Marvel line in figure arts, so.
Yeah, I bought one for my kid. It was a Infinity War Bucky, and so I have no idea really what any of the figure arts Marvel figures like. I know what SH figure arts are like with Dragon Ball, but this is a little bit different, and I just don't know if I have enough experience to say one way or the other that I would go for that. And but some of these look so good, so it's tough.
They really do. Like, that's 100% why I'm like holding out for them to do the Captain America from Falcon and Winter Soldier, because I'm like, I know it will look so good to make it worth it. And even White Vision, I mean, granted, I feel like in the show, I could be wrong, but I feel like he had at least a little bit more variation. He wasn't just straight white from head to toe, but it could just be lighting. Correct. Like, we might not be able to see it very well because it's just, shitty studio lighting.
Right.
Like, it looks like you might have a little bit, I can't tell if it's just a different because of the texture or the type of paint, but maybe the gauntlets and the belt look like they might be a little more of like an off like eggshell or something like that.
And it was more of a beige in the show, so I think it would even be more dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, not quite as dramatic as what Marvel Legends is doing, but like somewhere in between, I feel like is where he lives. Yep. I will say that I think it's funny that if you go between the two Vision's capes, original Vision cape has all these different designs to make it really look like the show, and then you get back to White Vision and it's literally just a white cape with like a trim around the edge. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that the capes were identical. It was just they took the color out. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
But at least you get the cool energy blast effect out of his forehead. So not gonna be mad about that. And we're not gonna move on without talking about good old Godzilla. Like, that's gotta be the second highest thing on your list out of these. Like, I have not seen this anime, but now I'm like, maybe I should, because this fucking thing looks badass.
It's actually pretty good. I liked it. It's fun. There's 3 of them, so it gets a little drawn out, but I like that we're getting any merchandise from this, because I think the look of him is very cool in it. So I'm definitely all in for this. Like, I ultimately decided not to go with the Monster Arts Violante one just because we do have that NECA one, and I know the Figure Arts one is going to blow it away. But at 90 to $100, I got to be real careful.
That's
So
okay.
I
In October when mine comes out here, you'll see it on
yeah,
Wednesdays, and
and
you'll
I'll
be like, "Damn it, I'm gonna buy it now."
yeah, and I'll pay 3 times as much. It happens every time. But I definitely would be more interested in one that I haven't seen in any form at all. And this is definitely one that piques my interest.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, granted, again, I have never seen the series, so I don't have any reference to it. But just that massive like mouth,
Mm-hmm.
like the reach of that, and then that tail, like Jesus. I
Yeah,
thought the Biolante Godzilla's tail was gonna be massive and long. This can choke a bitch. Like holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah. This thing, I mean, it very much has that Shin Godzilla feel to it,
Mm-hmm.
but just way more dramatic. Like the legs, you can definitely tell this is the animated property just because of the over exaggerated properties, and it
Mm.
just looks so cool. But it still has those ties to Shin, which I like because that was always that's the super gross one.
Yeah,
That's what I love about it.
I didn't
It's
like the
gross.
Shin. Like, I still haven't watched the
Yeah.
movie, but I've seen like the different clips of it,
Oh,
which is
you
what like
haven't seen it?
no, because
You gotta.
I wanted to, but then I started watching clips of it, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is not Godzilla. This is like some weird slug that can open its jaw like a fucking
Right,
snake.
and it does, but oh, you gotta see it. It is such a weirdly cool, different movie. I've never really quite seen a movie like it. It is really told from a perspective of almost being like a documentary in the sense that you're constantly being told who is on the screen, what they are, and it is just them trying to figure out the emergency situation. It's just a really interesting way of telling the story. And yeah, he does have different forms that he has to go through, but
Yeah, he like evolves from like sea slug to giant
yeah,
lizard that still doesn't quite. He looks like Cookie Monster, like got in a tragic accident. Like,
yeah. It does look like Cookie Monster got a tragic accident. Um, it's definitely one of those things that I would say is different, like the first American Godzilla, but more respectful
okay,
because they definitely pay homage to what the original is, but they're not trying to remake it. Essentially, that this exists in its own thing.
okay.
So that's why I dug it. You definitely should check it out.
I'll have to. I'll probably finally watch it then because you've convinced me.
It's
Because
worth it.
I just seeing how it looked, I was always like, no, I'm good. That thing just looks
Oh,
gross
it
as
is
fuck.
gross though. Yep,
Um,
super gross.
but yeah, this thing looks badass. I'll probably watch the Netflix series before I watch Shin Godzilla,
Oh, that's
but I
fine.
will get around to it. I
That's
promise you
fine.
that.
The Netflix series is good too.
Yeah, so and I'm also gonna pre-order this thing because this thing just looks too badass. Like
Yeah.
even without
Yep.
context, like this looks like Godzilla. It just
Yep.
everything about it screams that, and I love it. So, well, tomorrow when that inevitably goes up for pre-order after I put the show
Sure.
up, I'll have to
Yep.
I'll have to go through and do
Yeah,
that.
dumbasses. It
Goddamn
went up
pricks.
for pre-order.
Yeah,
It was like an hour before you put the show up.
yeah, fucking pricks. Um, jeez. But that is going to be it for this week's Modern Toy Fair news. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Nate, tell all the lovely people who didn't tune in yesterday for weekly purchases about Figuratively Speaking and the updates of witness protection and all that.
Yeah, we still don't know where Ryan is. He's been hiding. We believe he might be living in a bomb shelter in Utah.
Oh,
We are still trying to track down some information, but if that is the case, Corey and I are going to fly out to Utah so we can do it in person. So we're hoping third week in June.
I mean, good for you guys because flights are
Yeah.
expensive right now. I've been looking into them
Hey.
because,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because you want to get out of places.
yeah, that's a dedication though
Yep.
to bring back the pod. You have to
Yeah.
fly
We got to
across
do what we
country,
got to do. Yeah, absolutely.
and I'm just waiting for the custody battle when they eventually try to take you back. But
It's going to be ugly.
it is. There's gonna be a lot of tears and a lot of angry lawyers, but we'll have to fight the good fight.
Yeah. Speaking of Wednesday, because how else can people find out about awesome things like Fish Transformer, $10 Kong,
Yeah.
She-Hulk? How do they find out about stuff like this? Or what if they're sitting there going, "Hey man, I turned in for weekly purchases. What happened?"
I mean, if you tune in for weekly purchases, I've got some bad news for you. You missed that. That's on Wednesdays now. That is live on Twitch every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Every Wednesday.
With,
all three of us.
yeah, me, the man that we have majority custody over, and the YouTube wife. All three of us showing off what we bought, or in Jamar's case this week, didn't buy. Spoiler alert. But I have some good news for you. If you go to twitch.tv/Modern Toy Fair, you can actually go back and watch the previous episode for, I think, 14 days after it goes up. So,
awesome. So you can still watch both of them.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't know how to set it up for the first one, so you can only watch this week's.
Okay.
Yeah, the
so
first one.
Lost.
Yeah, first one's lost because I thought it did automatically. Joke was on me.
Okay.
So you can go back and watch this week's when Jamar had nothing, but we had some cool stuff. I mean, we're also going to get all the creepy things that Nate did with his Star Wars figures. You'll never know unless you go to Twitch and watch. So make sure to check that out.
It was weird. Parental advisory.
Oh yeah, it is definitely a little. We should have had a hot tub so Twitch wouldn't ban us. But if you want to catch more of me, you can go and listen to the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast where me, Jason, and Kevin go over the weekly wrestling world news. And then if you want to support us over here at Modern Toy Fair, there's a link below for tpublic.com where we sell shirts with our logos on it. And we also have other things like there's mugs, pillowcases, phone cases, you name it. You can probably find it. And there's not just our logos. I have other designs that I've worked up in the good old Photoshop. So go check those out. I greatly appreciate it. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, but not only that, leave us a comment below with any announcements you are excited for. So if you want to talk about some figure arts, some NECA, you name it, 9 times out of 10, I respond to every comment on there, unless it's something that's overtly rude. So, and even if it is overtly rude, as long as it's not like you just say like mocking us for not having good viewer numbers, I'll still probably reply to you.
Yeah, or not having any hair in my case, but that's okay.
I mean, I'll still reply to you if you call Nate bald. Like, I'm like, yeah, he fucking is. We'll have a good time at it. Make sure to hit the little bell to get notified when our videos go up. There is Modern Toy Fair Monday reviews, where I go over different newer action figures. And then on Wednesday night, we have the weekly purchases over on Twitch live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And then occasionally on Thursdays, I will have a throwback review where I review a figure that's already been out for a little while. And then, of course, you have Modern Toy Fair news on Fridays. And for some reason, if you don't enjoy staring at our faces, there is an audio-only version of Modern Toy Fair news available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Spotify, and other podcast apps you know and love. So check that out, and hopefully we'll see you next week, same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. Thank you for watching.